Hello and welcome to the Supernatural Track here at Continual. I'm your host, Gail Martin, and tonight we are talking about fan fiction events, everything from big bangs and on down. But before we start into that, let's let our wonderful panelists introduce themselves, starting with Carole.
Hi, I'm Carole Stokes. I've been watching Supernatural since season 3, started writing fanfic in 2012, which I continue to this day. And I'm one of the co-hosts for the Spotify podcast, So Get This, The Lore of Supernatural Fanfiction.
Very good. Tammy.
Hi, I'm Tammy. I started watching Supernatural in season 7, and I've been writing fanfic for a while. I don't remember what year I started. And I am also one of the co-hosts of the podcast. It has a really long name, so I'm not going to say it again.
Sue.
Hi, I'm Sue, and I've been with Supernatural since day 1. Started writing fanfic for Supernatural in 2006, and I'm still doing it.
And I'm Gail Martin and Morgan Bryce. As Gail, I write epic and urban fantasy. As Morgan, I write urban fantasy, male paranormal romance, but all my modern day worlds are ones Sam and Dean could walk into and feel right at home. I don't write fanfic, but I consume large quantities of it from all of these ladies and more. So I am an avid, possibly obsessed fan. And, let's start with the big one, the Big Bang, and talk about what is it, and how many of them are there, and how does it work? So, Carole?
So I always think of this as the crown jewel of all the bangs, is the Supernatural J2 Big Bang. It's an annual event. The signups start in the end of January. The postings start in June. And so there's a lengthy time in which one is allowed to write. Then there's a matchup between artists and writers, and then the artist has some time to create the art. And then in unison, the artist-writer team presents the story, usually posting through the summer from June to the end of July. This bang has been running since 2006. My first big bang was 2013. I literally just posted this year's Big Bang today.
And it's very good. Go read it.
And part of what qualifies it as a Big Bang in this particular case is that the story has to be at least 20,000 words. There are other bangs with other word count criteria, but this particular bang, it's a 20,000 word and a word count. You will see stories that are 20,020 words, and you will see stories that are 120,000 words. So big range in the output. Some people actually start writing their stories the year before. So
Hello.
yeah, as soon as they get the idea in the summer or the fall preceding, they'll start writing it. And then you have people like me who sign up for it and then say, what am I going to write? And then we're like the mad monkeys in the memes where we're like, trying to get our word count out. So that's when people say the Big Bang, that's generally the one they're referring to. All the other bangs will be referred to by their actual names to set them apart. So I'll let everyone else kind of go around. I mean, there's certainly different kinds of events, and there's different kinds of bangs even. Bangs are one kind of event, but I'm sure we'll get to delve into all of that as we continue.
Well, let's stay on bangs for the moment and talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into some of those other ones. But Tammy, what do you want to add to the lore of the bangs?
There are lots of different bangs. There are bangs that are specific to certain characters, like there's a Sam Winchester bang, there's a Dean Winchester bang. There are bangs that are just there are reverse bangs, and I had to drop out of the big bang this year because, as Carole knows, my story is a mess and it's an ongoing mess. But I am participating in the reverse bang, and then the reverse bang, it starts with art, whereas the regular bang starts with the story. The reverse bang starts with art. So artists draw or create art, and it's put out there, and you don't know who the artist is. You just look at what art speaks to you, and you pick that art, and you write a story based on that art. And I've got a story coming out on the 25th of this month that's based on some really fantastic art I got from Out of Nowhere 82. But that's how a reverse bang works. And I'll let someone else go into other things.
Okay, Sue.
Well, my big bang went out right at the beginning of the challenge, so it's long forgotten. I have actually started writing the next year. One of the things about the Big Bang is that it's kind of a lottery, in that you write your story, you send it in, and then it's a synopsis is posted and put forward for artists to choose. So you don't know who you're going to get. They don't know who they're going to get. But the result is a partnership between yourself as a writer and that artist who brings their best game. And some of the results are amazing. Yeah.
So there are, I swear I saw an Eldritch Horror bang. What about some of these other flavors of bangs? Carole?
I personally adore the Eldritch Bang. I wrote 3 of them and I had to miss last year. I just had too much going on. But the is focused originally, it actually was a Winchester only bang. They didn't have J2. I believe they opened it to J2 as well, but it was a bang focused on horror. Whether or not it had a ship in it didn't matter, as long as it was horror. So you really wanted to delve into different horror elements. It was a really great way to explore them. Think about as a case fic, like something that could have been on the show, but you get to really, get into it and expand on it and explore different things. It's a delightful, fun challenge. Just don't read the stories all alone late at night. So that originally actually was on LiveJournal, and now it's homed on Tumblr. Most of these bangs will have a collection on AO3. So even if you don't go to that particular platform, like I'm not a Tumblr user, but I can go to AO3 and I can do a search on Supernatural Eldritch Bang, and the collection will be there. So as people are posting, they park their story in these collections, and you can go to the Big Bang of 2006, for instance, and there's the stories. And the Eldritch Bang of 2022, because they haven't had the 2023 one yet. And there's the stories. So they will have collections. And yeah, the Eldritch Bang is it's delicious. I love it.
And just to clarify, AO3 is Archive of Our Own,
Yes.
which is a Google award-winning platform that houses lots and lots of fan fiction for a lot of fandoms, but particularly lots and lots of supernatural fandom. Tammy, some other of these spin-off bangs or these themed bangs, which ones catch your interest, even if whether or not you've written for them?
I think, Sam Winchester, I'm a Sam girl. So Sam Winchester's Big Bang, that I have participated in that several years, including last year. I wrote a fic for that. I like the ones that I've tried Eldridge, but I can't write spooky enough. I'm working on it. But I like the specific ones, because if you have an area that you like, and a lot of these do not have a word limit. So whereas for the Big Bang, you've got to write 20,000 words. A lot of these say you can do it either as a mini or a big. So a mini would be at least 5,000, where a big would be at least 20,000. So that if you're somebody who is not as wordy, which is not a problem I have, you don't have to write the Big Bang. You can write a smaller bang and tell a smaller story. And of course, a lot of readers like reading the smaller story. So there's a lot of ways to express yourself and not have to write a huge story. And I think there's 2 reverse bangs, one that deals with Sam and Dean and one that's more J2 related. So there's a lot of bangs that either are just Winchesters or just RFPF, so that if you have an interest in one and not the other, that you can find. And I want to say, if you're a new writer, joining these bangs are a great way to get out there. That's how I first started as a writer. I think the first thing I did was a J2 Big Bang. And it doesn't matter that you don't know anyone, because you're posting your synopsis anonymously. So it doesn't matter, you're not a well-known author. Somebody's still going to pick your story based on what your synopsis is. And it gives you a chance to join a community and meet other writers. That's how I met Carole. Hi, Carole. And it's a way to get your stories out there. People go through and read all the Big Bang. So that's how people are going to read your story. So I would definitely, if you're a new writer, I would say, search these out. A lot of them are on Tumblr now, which I personally don't have, but they're usually advertised on LJ and on Twitter. So you can usually find out about them that way. And then a Discord, which is confusing to me, but some people really like Discord. You can find about it on Discord as well. But, if you can find that and join it, it's a really great way to meet people, meet fellow writers, and get your stuff out there.
Okay, Sue.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the Discord. Excuse me, I have awful allergies and my voice is up and down. There is a Discord community called the Quest Board, and it collects all the bangs and announces when they're running and what the dates are, etc. I had a look this afternoon. There are 37 supernatural Big Bangs listed on the Quest board. And that's when I found out that a lot of them haven't run in the last year. And so I'm hoping that it's not an indication that the fandom is dying out or slowing down, but there are so many other challenges as well. Even if a lot of the Big Bangs go down, there's still so much still happening and running currently that you need never worry, not for a little while anyway, about the fandom dying.
Well, all of this is fan run. I think that's really important to say, is that all of this is fan run. So if the person who's been driving a particular bang has a health challenge or something goes on in their life, or they just kind of move on to a new life stage, they may walk away from it, and perhaps sometime in the future there'll be somebody who will, decide to pick it up. So I look out on AO3 and I see fandoms and new stuff being posted for shows that have been off the air much, much longer than Supernatural. So I tend to believe in our little show that could. I think people will find their way back, maybe not to those particular banks, but maybe they'll start something new when the thought strikes them. Carole?
I can either talk about a different flavor of bang or a different kind of event. Which way would you like me to go?
Well, let's finish out bangs. What else do you have on bangs?
There are 2 other bangs that I was very, very fond of and participated in a number of times. One is the cinema bang, in which you pick a movie and you rewrite that movie as either generally a Winchester story or a J2 story. Sometimes people will write like, maybe it's Jeffrey D. Morgan and Jensen or whatever, but it's generally your categories for J2 or Winchester. And so you redo popular movies. So for instance, one year I did a version of Pretty Woman that is called Someone to Save You. And, they were each cast one of the J's as one of, the businessman and the woman of the street. And, but you have to redo, you don't want to just write the movie, you want to redo it as this completely new version of this story, like an AU perhaps of this story, but with the feel that of the movie, if that makes sense. So the cinema one is just a delightful one, and I've seen many, many really enjoyable stories come from that. And another is the Meant to Be challenge. The Meant to Be is basically your Harlequin romance, where the moderators would put up 100, and I'm not kidding, a literal 100 summaries of Harlequin stories. And there was a claiming process where you would pick the top 5 you wanted, and you'd see which one you got by the time the claiming got down to you. And so they're all these like really dramatic stories, like, and then his ranch was was repossessed, and he had to like deal with his mortal enemy, and of course sparks flew, and it's that really good soapy, juicy stuff. And that one is just, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It was so much fun to write, so much fun to read them, and they have really distinctive personalities. It's a real major characteristic. You've got this movie thing going on, or you've got this Harlequin romance thing going on, and really you can kind of delve into this whole new atmosphere of the story that you're writing, and then have a host of, these are very, very popular challenges, and I believe, excuse me, still running, although the Cinema Bang both also were originally hosted on LiveJournal. Cinema Bang is now on Tumblr. Meant to Be is now on Dreamwidth. And Tammy made an excellent point that most of these challenges, regardless of what platform is actually hosting them, have a Twitter. And so they will, tweet about this challenge is coming up, or this challenge is open, go here. People can retweet it. So maybe you didn't see the original tweet, but then one of your friends is retweeting it, and you're like, oh, look, this challenge is up. And you can go off and, look at the schedule and the signups and the parameters and decide if you want to play or not.
Okay. Tammy, anything else to add on bangs before we move on?
I can't think of anything else.
Okay. Sue, anything more on bangs?
Just that I really, really want to run a sci-fi bang.
I will join.
Hmm?
I will join. You run it, I'll join.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm a sci-fi nut, and there hasn't been one, and I think there's a need.
I was going to say, I've seen some excellent sci-fi stories, but they aren't part of a bang. And so I suspect there are some people out there who would take you up on that.
Well,
A lot of these other bangs where somebody wrote a sci-fi big bang or did a sci-fi movie,
Oh, there's a beautiful sci-fi bang that's been posted in this go round of the SPN J2 Big Bang. So worth reading. It reads like a space opera, and it's open to more.
Cool. So let's talk about some of these others, because I've seen challenges that are codas to episodes, or that are holiday inspired, or that, well, pretty much everything. Carole, what you got for us?
Well, so let's talk about comment memes. Now, comment memes are something that anybody can whip up. So a random person might just say, I'm going to do a comment meme on this topic. For instance, when Jared and Jensen first moved to Austin, or Jared was there, and then Jensen, a couple of years later also moved to Austin. And they had posted these pictures that one of their houses had this big boathouse, because it was right on the lake. And so there was a famous picture of them and their little, what are they, not water ski, the water. Yes, yeah. Exactly. And so somebody was like, we'll have a boathouse meme. So what a comment meme is, you have a post and then everybody comments to it with a prompt. Maybe it's Jared and Jensen go out early morning fishing, or, things like that, where they just like a sentence or two. Just a prompt. And then people can go through and read all these prompts and write little stories for them. So the boathouse meme was one of those impromptu ones. Sometimes there's more regular ones, like there's often a Valentine's Day comment meme. And I forget who posts that, but it turns up pretty much, I think, every year now for a few years. So everybody will have all these different Valentine love themed prompts, and people will go through and pick them. And those stories too will often end up in a collection, both on the host platform and on AO3.
That's great.
Well, yes, Masquerade, the SPN Masquerade, which is a definite NSFW collection. And all the prompts are anonymous, so people can prompt anything they want without fearing reactions. But it's a comment meme, and then people go through and pick up prompts and write them. So comment memes are really, really fun. Sometimes, like I say, there's established ones, there's impromptu ones. There was one running every year for a little bit where it was Evil Sam. And so you had these prompts where Sam was, you know, either the boy king or soulless, or, you know, in some way he just was not nice. And people wrote these little things, and generally the stories are shorter, you know, because it's usually not this whole big world building event. But they're very, very fun. A lot of energy in those kinds of things. And as a writer, it's like candy, or it's no, it's not candy. It's potato chips, because you can't do just one. And so you're on the comment meme and you're like, oh, I'll do this one. Oh, now I'll do this one. Oh, I'll do this one. And yeah, it's really easy to get a little carried away. And then you're like, wow, I wrote like 8 little stories in, you know, 2.5 weeks. No wonder my brain is mush.
Good mush, really good mush.
Good mush.
Yes.
Tammy, what haven't we mentioned?
One of the things that is a really big thing in the fandom is gift exchanges. So what this is a summer gin, for instance, is going on right now. So you join it and you say, I want a story or art, and these are my likes. I like Good Sam. I like Rich Sam, you know, whatever the things that you like, you list a bunch of things that you like, and then you say, in exchange, I'm willing to write, because I can't do art, but if you can do art, you can put, I want to do art. And you put what you, generally they have you put what you won't do. You know, what you're willing to do and what you aren't willing to do. And then the moderators match you up with someone. And so it says, you got matched up with so-and-so, and this is what their prompts are, and write a story based on those prompts. And then when it's posted anonymously. So if you go to Summer Gin right now, it's posting right now. On AF3, there's a collection, but it all says anonymous. It's a gift for so-and-so, but it's posted anonymously, and there's the gift. The good thing about Summer Gin is it's gin. So if you're uncomfortable, or if you want to exchange from writing romance or slash, these are gin stories. The only couples you can write are the couples that actually happened on Supernatural. There's no RPF. So it's just, and I know a lot of readers, some of that stuff makes them uncomfortable. So if gin stories are what you prefer to read, you are going to find tons in the Summer Gin collections. And there's one that usually happens at Christmas, which is not gin. It can be any type of story that the person asked for. But these are nice ways to say, you know, I would like to be gifted a story that's based on my likes, and for an anonymous person to gift you a story. And it's another way to just get yourself involved in fandom. The 2 big ones are the Summer Gin and the Christmas one, but there are other ones that have been run at various times, sort of like Carole says, pop-up things that happen. So those are another type of an event that you can participate in.
Okay, Sue?
Yeah, the Christmas one is one of my favorites.
I like it.
Yeah, I really like that one. And, you know, we have fairly recently wound up a community which was, we called it Big Pretzel. And we used to have regular challenges for crackfic, which I'm very partial to. In fact, I find it really hard not to write crackfic. Crackfic being the absurd as opposed to the sensible. I was just looking up, there were also, they're not running at the moment, but hopefully they'll pick up again, the Saturday night, Sunday morning specials, which you've got a week to produce something short and naughty. And those go up, and then you've got something to read while you're lying in bed in the morning.
I know I have also seen things like, you know, the 12 days of Christmas, or the
Yeah.
12 days of incest, or 12 days of, you know, the advent calendar, where it can be a single author. Often it is multiple authors who have gotten together. Whether or not it's been opened as a competition, I don't know, or, you know, open to a large group, or whether it's a small group just saying, hey, let's do this. But those are a lot of fun because, you know, like on the advent calendar one, it's a different one for every day in December, or they go along with, you know, some of the Christmas carols. So it's got a theme, and all the stories are usually fairly short. I would say probably 10K and under, but, you know, every now and then somebody got a wild hair and went with it. But those can just be a lot of fun because you're, you know, if you're in the mood for holiday stories, no matter what time of the year it is, here's a whole bunch. And they may have nothing in common except the fact that they're supernatural and they're holiday. They might be Jen, they might be J2, they might be, you know, they might be other pairings, but they've got the holiday theme. So if you're really looking for Christmas in July, that can be very nice. Back to you, Carole. What haven't we mentioned?
I just, one more thing about the holiday thing. I really enjoy holiday comment memes and holiday collections where, you know, I mean, when it starts being, you know, mid-September, I start thinking, is there going to be a Halloween Halloween thing going on? And oh, look, there is. And, you know, so things like that, you know, are really, really fun, and a nice group thing, because usually you've got, you know, a bunch of writers, and so they're all kind of talking about it. It's really fun. Another kind of thing, well, actually, Sue was talking about the naughty stories. There are two. The one that is still running, I believe, is the SMPC, which is the Sunday Morning Porn Club. And that's been going for a few years, and that's writers are invited to participate in that, but then they sign up for a particular weekend day and they produce a story for that. We did have another community Saturday night specials, and that just went for about a year or so. And I was one of the mods for that, but we just got like too busy. When you're running a challenge, you know, whether it be a bang or a comment meme or any of these communities, it can be a fair bit of work. Generally, you'll find any kind of challenge is going to be moderated by like 3 people, because there's a lot, you know, you're kind of herding people, you know, you're herding your writers and your artists. You're checking on schedules, you have claims to go on, people will have questions, you have to discuss things with them. And it's a lot for one person often. And so usually it's going to be a couple of people, maybe 3 people, because, you know, yeah, it can be a lot of work. Another thing is bingos.
Oh, I was going to say that.
Oh, okay, I'll leave bingos for you. I'll leave bingos. So I'll just leave it that we had those kinds of communities. In fan fiction, there is pondering the diplomatic path here of the naughtiness. And so you will sometimes find challenges that are based on the fact, like the masquerade, where that's the focus. It's the relationships, but these are relationships that you will see explored in physical terms. Whereas other ones, for instance, like Tammy was talking about, the Jen one, where there's nothing you know, and then some just have a range in between. Obviously, if you have a Harlequin romance, you're going to have a lot of romance, and I'm sure there's going to be some passionate kissing and, you know, heaving bosoms, except, you know, they're usually not women. So, and then also I'll just stop there because then Sue can talk about the bingos.
No heaving bosoms, but the earthquakes in the mountains of Texas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well put.
Tammy, over to you.
One of a fun thing that I know Carole and I have participated in before is called Salt Burn. And it just pops up at random times. It's not set at a time of the year or anything else. It's just when the mods decide to set it up. Only 20 people can sign up for it. And you are giving a prompt. It can be a sentence. It can be a few words. It can be song lyric. It can be anything. And you have 24 hours to write something based on that prompt. And it's called Salt Burn, so it has to have. So you've got 24 hours to write a story. And if you're like me, you can't just write, you always have to write plot. So you have to put plot form together in 24 hours and do it. So it's a fun challenge for yourself because you have to sort of just force yourself to not think about how good it is and to get it out there. And it's really, people come up with some creative things. It's a fun challenge to go and read what's in the AO3 collection with it, because it's amazing what some people can come up with in 24 hours. So that is a really fun thing that I have participated in before.
And sometimes to yell at your characters because you're like, I've written 3,000 words. You guys haven't even like kissed yet. Like,
and it's got to write.
Sue, tell us about bingo.
The bingo. It's a challenge, but it's a personal challenge. Basically, you ask for a bingo card on a specific subject, and then you fill out all the different prompts, and it takes a while, but it's a fun challenge. Another one that I haven't seen lately, but which I used to love, was the lyric wheel challenge. And basically everybody is in a circle. Once you've got all the participants, they each give the next person a song to write to, and that person writes the song until the wheel's complete. And that can be fun. Again, it can be as general or as funny as you like. And I think that one should be resurrected too.
Well, it's supernatural, so anything can come back from the dead.
Oh, yeah.
You know, one of the other things just to mention is that on Twitter, I have seen a number of threads where somebody will throw out a prompt or say, you know, all right, everybody, give us your flash fic on this. And it's something that usually adheres to, you know, Twitter's number of character limits, or maybe just a couple, but nothing real long. And so you've got this micro fic that is all on a theme. And those just seem to pop up randomly. If there is any schedule or organization behind it, I haven't been able to see it. But it's just sort of like somebody says, hey, I really want to see some microfic about this. And then anybody who gets the urge chimes in on the thread. And those can be a lot of fun when you're just looking for a distraction that doesn't take a long time to read. Come on, Carole, there have to be some other things lurking in the shadows here.
Covering a lot of stuff. The bingo thing is it's really fun because they're usually on a theme. So you might have a bingo of relationships. So you might have a bingo that's hurt comfort. You might have a bingo that's about science fiction elements or something like that. I'm a sucker for a bingo card, but I'm terrible about actually finishing them. I generally have other stories I already have in mind, and unless I can match it up, I can't get there. But they're really they're addictive little morsels.
All right, Tammy?
I had not think of anything else.
Okay, Carol's waving her pen.
Tammy is doing an amazing thing this year. She went ahead and had people sign up for birthday fix. So Tammy here has been writing birthday fix like this whole year, and where somebody would say, you know, oh, my birthday is, you know, March 25th, and here's a prompt. She's not accepting them anymore, I don't think. She's all filled out for the year, right?
I can still a few more if people want one,
but
I do have a several.
She's using it as a tool to write all these different kinds of fics, which is one thing that's really interesting about all of these bangs, comment memes, bingos, all of them. What they do two things. As a writer, they present an opportunity for you to really explore your own writing, push your boundaries, try something new. You know, if you really like writing hurt comfort, try the Eldritch Bang and see about horror. You know, it's the second year I was writing, second and third years that I was writing, I entered almost every bang I could because I wanted to keep pushing, trying new things. Here's different tones of writing. Here's different experiences in writing. So certainly is a way to strengthen your muscle, broaden your skills, all of that. These bangs are really terrific for that. As a reader, they're movable feasts. You know, here is, you know, all these big bangs, which are all these big world building, you know, stories with a lot of meat to them. Or here's a Valentine comment meme if you want to just read a bunch of like sweet, fluffy, you know, maybe funny stories that pretty much anything that you might feel like feeling, there's going to be a collection from an event, you know, from a bang, from a challenge, from, you know, a community and everything. And it really gives you as a reader this enormous range of stories to read.
Okay. Tammy, any other thoughts?
Just on the birthday fix, I'm still taking them. I'm Tammy _Wren. So I need to know your birthday and I need to know some of your likes. I will try almost anything, but you know, I like to stick to J3 and Sam and Dean. It can be Jen, Wednesday, whatever, case fic. But I am using it, well, for one thing, to give people smiles. And the second thing is to grow as a writer, because, you know, I really like to become a better writer. And this is one of the ways that I'm doing it, by writing things I normally would not write, because I'm writing to somebody else's taste. So if you want one, DM me and I'll see what I can do.
Okay. Sue.
Trying to think. There are a number of sort of short events going around lately. We've got Sam's big 4-0 prompt event coming up. And oh, you don't know about that one, Carole? Okay, well, it's coming up. It's for Sam's birthday, and the idea is to commemorate it with fanfic that features 40 in some fashion. So does he get 40 bruises? Is he spending 40 days on vacation? I think the answer to that is yes. And so that's one that's coming up. We had Kinky Sam Week not so long ago. I don't know where all the Kinky Dean stuff has gone, but Sam seems to be featuring pretty well at the present.
He'll be in Masquerade. There'll be a lot of Kinky Dean stuff in Masquerade.
Yeah, I'm always nervous about Masquerade.
Hurt Dean collections where the story somebody has to get damaged in some way and then rescued, and they're in line with the story, and our poor boys get thrown around a whole lot, but they usually come out of it okay most of the time.
Like on the show.
And the Brobone Bang is running at the present time, so that's another one for just ongoing until they call halt. And I like that purely because you can take the time you need. I'm a really slow writer. I couldn't begin to do 3,000 words in 24 hours. So, I need time.
Whereas I thrive under the lash of the whip. Give me a deadline and I'm like, I'm cranking it out.
I think one of the
I'm with Carole on it. Give me a time limit and I'll see how fast I can write.
I think one of the things for people who haven't explored all of the options that exist out there, either as a reader or a writer, is that there are just so many. You like short fiction? Fine. You like really short fiction? Fine. You want to come up with your own idea? Sure. You want to write to a prompt? There are plenty of those. I love the diversity in all of these, where as a reader, if you get in a mood for something, you can find a whole long list of things in that mood. And if you want a little bit of everything, kind of like a buffet, you can get one where everyone is different, but they have something in common. And that's just so much fun to explore. If people out there don't know that it exists, yeah, look for it, because it's always in the tags. If a story is part of a larger body of work, it's going to be in the tags. And if you click on that tag, it'll take you to the master list so you can see everything else. And so that's another great way to explore something, is by find a story you like, look in the tags. It might be part of a whole series. So as we come up to the end of our time, is there anything you really want to say that you haven't had a chance to say it? Have we left something out? Everybody looks like they've.
If you
All right.
dive in, pick a little event if you want, pick something that tickles your fancy and give it a whirl. You know, like I say, I learned so much about my writing and you know, what I like to do and what I could do. I wrote a really, really dark story one time just to see if I could do it. And then I was like, yeah, I did it. And I was like, yeah, never doing that again. You know, Tammy wrote a beautiful story about Jensen as a frog, and she didn't think she could do it, and it came out great. You know,
My editor was a very big help on that one.
he is the snarkiest little frog, you know. So this is what they're good for as a writer. You know, you're dipping your toe in, or you've been writing a long time. Either way, it's a way to bring up something new in yourself, in your writing, to try and work for. And as a reader, nom, nom, nom.
Well, and you know, the same thing is true as a reader. Maybe you don't want to jump into a certain, maybe you've read AU, which is alternate universe, where it's not our Sam and Dean, they are in the Wild West, or they're in outer space, or something. Jensen always runs a coffee shop. But maybe you find one of these and you try a short story that is set like that, and you go, I liked it or I didn't like it. And now you know what to look for, and it pushes you out of your comfort zone, even as a reader, because it's real easy to just read more of the same thing. And sometimes if you're working your way through one of these contests or bangs or collections, it is like a buffet, and maybe you discover a whole new thing that's a new favorite that you might not have otherwise tried if it wasn't the next one on the list. So it's also really good to just kind of free yourself up from what you think you like or you don't like until you try some of it, and then decide, well, that's too spicy for me, or ooh, give me the sriracha. So we have, of course, run through our time. So before we end, let's let everybody know where they can find you and your wonderful fiction online. Carole?
On Facebook, I'm here and I'm in the on continual panels quite often, and I'm in Gail's TFW and C Supernatural group. On Twitter, I am true_firesign10. Instagram, I'm firesign10. All of my fanfic is on AO3 under firesign10. Mind the tags, but enjoy.
Tammy?
I am Tammy_REN on Twitter. I'm on Tammy Wren H on AO3. And as Carole said, mind the tags. I write anything from gin to some very spicy fics. So
Okay, Sue.
Yeah, same here with regard to the variety. I'm Candy Graham, and my fic is on AO3 and a little bit on Live Journal still that hasn't gone to AO3. But you'll find me everywhere. I'm on every social media, and I'm always Candy Graham with the English spelling.
Okay. And I'm pretty easy to find at gailcmartin.com, morganbryce.com. All my social media is a variation of those names. If you spell them right, you'll find me. I do run the Supernatural TFWNC group here on Facebook. I'm a columnist for the Winchester Family Business Blog, but most of the time you can find me here on Continual. So thank you all so much for another wonderful conversation. And thanks to all of you for watching and listening. There will be more Supernatural coming up soon, so we'll see you online.